It's time for NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. The latest from the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington with Steve Hare, Grant Olson, and sports with Eric Granstrom.
Good evening and welcome to NCW Life News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top stories, let's take a quick look at your weather forecast. And it was warm one out there once again today. We can expect more of the same tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, look ahead past the weekend into next week. That's right, triple digits on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I'll tell you how long that heat will last in our area coming up a little bit later in the broadcast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. A Wenatchee police officer has been placed on leave after he shot and killed a man last night in a supermarket parking lot. An NCW Life traffic survey counted over 170 distracted drivers in Wenatchee in less than a half hour. And a colder than normal spring has resulted in fewer wasps around north central Washington. Those stories, along with Eric Granstrom in sports, coming up. But first, Wenatchee police say a knife-wielding man was shot and killed by an officer last night in the parking lot of Albertson's grocery store. It happened around 10 p.m. when Rivercom Emergency Dispatch received a 911 call from a person witnessing the suspect. Captain Edgar Reinfeld explained what happened earlier this morning.
Officers responded to a report of a man armed with a knife and screaming last night just after 10 o'clock, about 10:06 actually. Upon arrival, first officer found the man still armed with a knife in the parking lot. It was confrontational, and ended up being, the result was the suspect was shot shortly thereafter. The suspect ultimately passed at Central Washington Hospital after being transported by ambulance. And now you can see very little behind us of the crime scene team that was here about an hour ago. But the Washington State Patrol Crime Scene Response Team came and collected evidence and documented the scene for our North Central Washington Special Investigations Unit. And at this point, we are just working through the process of the case.
Captain Reinfeld says the names of the suspect and the officer have not been released. Lady of the Lake officials at Lake Chelan and the Chelan County Sheriff's Office report that they're seeing more reckless operation of watercraft on the lake around passenger vessels than ever before. Wave runners and jet skis are following and jumping within inches of the Lady of the Lake boats. Watercraft are crossing so close in front of the bow that the captain of the boat loses sight of them. Officials are seeing adults pulling their young children behind boats and crossing in front of the vessel too close. They also say it's important to remember boats do not have brakes and they're not able to react like a small vessel or vehicle, plus the fact that this is illegal per the Chelan County boating regulations. Judging from a recent NCW Life survey of motorists in Wenatchee, it appears police will be busy enforcing the state's new distracted driving law. Our survey was conducted on July 20th at the corner of Miller Avenue and 5th Street. Casey Bayes was among 4 NCW Life staff members who conducted the survey between the hours of 5 and 5:30 p.m.
We caught 179 people that were talking while holding their phones, and 75 to 80% were actually holding it and texting, not just holding it to talk. So they were actually looking at something, and being up on the balcony by the sub shop was really helpful because we could see when they were trying to be sneaky down there.
And people will do that now. I think with the new law in effect, they're going to do that. They'll put their phone in their lap and turn it on speaker, right?
Yeah, but even looking down, it's you do that if you're talking on your phone and stuff, you can't help it. So it's holding it down there is still going to get you caught, and it's still not safe.
How many people did you notice were only doing it when they were stopped at the intersection as opposed to they're literally driving down the road and doing this?
I'd say that 75% were actually doing it when they were stopped, but I was surprised at how many people actually kept looking down while they were driving across. I was watching this isn't safe.
The new law went into effect on July 23rd. A driving under the influence of electronics ticket, or EDUI, will cost more than before. All violations will be available to your insurance company and may lead to premium increases. Lake Wenatchee area residents can get more information about planned timber harvest projects at a Saturday community meeting. Chelan County Natural Resources Department Director Mike Caputa says projects to be discussed include the Weyerhaeuser proposal on the South Shore.
The county received a number of phone calls and some letters about the Weyerhaeuser proposal up on Lake Wenatchee. And in response to that, we're going to be getting together some of the landowners to talk about that proposal. We have the Department of Natural Resources coming to talk about the forest practices permit that Weyerhaeuser submitted. But we're also going to take the opportunity to let the community know about some future work that we're working with the Forest Service on in the same area.
Caputa says the Forest Service projects are planned in the Lake Wenatchee, Big Meadow, Beaver, and Lower Chihuahua areas. Saturday's meeting starts at 10 a.m. at the Lake Wenatchee Rec Club. Coming up next, Governor Jay Inslee visits Cashmere High School to push for passage of a stalled state construction budget. Also, you may have noticed fewer wasps around your house. We'll tell you why coming up as NCW Life News continues for a Friday.
Are you wanting high-speed internet but don't have access to PUD fiber? Try Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet from LocalTel. Call 888-8888 today.
Welcome back to NCW Life News. Governor Jay Inslee visited Cashmere today. It was part of a series of stops around the state to highlight the legislature's failure to pass a capital budget and how that is impacting local construction projects. Cashmere High School is waiting on $11.5 million from the capital budget for the upgrades to the school infrastructure. The governor met with school officials and local community leaders at around 4:30 this afternoon. His travels will also take him to an elementary school in Cedro-Woolley and a food bank in Mount Vernon that are also awaiting passage of the construction spending plan. The legislature ended its third special session last week without an agreement, although negotiations continue between House and Senate leaders in Olympia. Well, if you spend a lot of time outdoors, maybe you've noticed, or maybe you haven't, but the number of yellow jackets in our area is down drastically from what we normally see this time of year. Washington State University entomologist Richard Zach says the most likely reason was our extended cool, wet spring that made it difficult for the emerging hibernating queens to forage for food and build nests, which consequently led to a high mortality rate. Zach also points out that even though the wasp numbers have significantly decreased this year, humans shouldn't let their guard down because a nest is still home to lots of workers and they're busy searching for food. The U.S. Department of Commerce announced yesterday that Douglas County is one of 5 Washington counties that will receive grants and low-interest loans to support economic development. The Port of Douglas County will receive a grant of $87,412 for the Gigawatt construction project, and Douglas County will get a loan of $291,552. The county will use the loan to extend domestic water, irrigation water, and sanitary sewer lines. The funds will also be used to install power conduit, street lighting, and stormwater facilities. The Gigawatt project will invest $20 million and create 61 new jobs because of this project. Besides Douglas County, the State Community Economic Revitalization Board is also investing over $2.5 million in Franklin, Jefferson, Pacific, and Skagit counties. This Friday, today, the annual Watershed Country Music Festival begins at the Gorge Amphitheater in George, Washington. State Patrol would like to remind concert goers that they will be allocating additional resources along the I-90 corridor because of the large influx of traffic over the weekend. Motorists should expect lengthy delays along I-90 near Vantage and over Snoqualmie Pass Friday through Sunday. Troopers will be focusing on distracted drivers, unrestrained occupants, and impaired drivers. This year's Watershed headliners are Chris Stapleton tonight, Darius Rucker on Saturday, and Luke Bryan on Sunday. News continues with Eric Granstrom in sports. Also coming up, our feature story today, and it focuses on the Performing Arts Center production of La Cage aux Folles.
Is your vehicle in need of a quick oil change or tune-up before hitting the road this summer? Stop by Quick Lube and Tune, the home of the good guys at 610 South Wenatchee Avenue.
And now it's a sports update on the NCW Life channel.
And a happy finally Friday. Matt Cottrell was 2 over the minimum in a complete game 2-hit shutout as the Wenatchee Apple Sox did the season series sweep of the Port Angeles lefties. Aki Buckensons, or make that Buxton's bunt single with 1 out in the 6th, broke up Cottrell's no-hit bid, but Cottrell continued his dominance with a 2-out double in the 9th. That was the only hits they got. Trevor Williams had the call of the final out on the Apple Sox radio network.
Cottrell comes set his step in the pitch to Portero. Popped up towards right field. This could do it. Jalen Garcia searching up into this early night sky, and he makes the catch in right field to complete the sweep for the Apple Sox in the complete game shutout victory for McCabe Cottrell. His first collegiate win, and what a way to do it tonight. Retires 27 of 29 lefties, and the Apple Sox take it 5-0. They season sweep Port Angeles 6-0, and the Apple Sox are a half game away from first place in the West Coast League North second half. What a season for the Apple Sox, and they're going to make it mighty fun into the final 9 regular season games this year.
Jack Machtolf was 2 for 4 with a run to lead the Apple Sox at the plate. Wenatchee returns home to take on Walla Walla. We'll have more on that coming up in just a moment. Also in the West Coast League last night, it was Kelowna getting the better of Victoria 9-7. Bend topped Yakima Valley 11-4. It was Bellingham over Cowlitz 7-5. And Corvallis topped Gresham 8-5. The standings have Victoria on top at 11-8. Bellingham and Wenatchee a half game back at 10-8 coming into the weekend. Well, the 4th annual Sunburn Classic 3-on-3 basketball tournaments this weekend at Pybus Market in Wenatchee and on Worthen Street. The event is put on by J.D. Taylor and his Elite Hoop Effect. Taylor says he has high hopes for the future of this tournament.
Goal at the end of the day is between 500 and 700 teams. But right now, with the amount of courts we have, we can still handle a couple hundred teams with the 18 courts that we have, and then our ability to have more backboards. So we can take however many teams want to sign up. We're looking. I mean, we're really looking for this year. We're really looking for 125 to 150 teams. We have had 30 teams growth for the last 3 years, and now we're going to be in our 4th year. So we'd like to see, our numbers to 125 to, I'd like to see 150. Now, things are going to change for us, but our tournament registration and our bracketing and stuff, we've gone to our group. Amy Lewis is great. We have an online app now, so when you come, you don't have to come to the scoreboard. You can get everything on your phone now. So our group is doing great with that. So we're ready to spread it out, stretch our legs, and start bringing in the numbers for the Sunburn.
And the Sunburn happening this weekend at Pybus. We'll have the cameras there and have some highlights for you coming up Monday on the NCW Life Channel. So what else is going on this weekend? Well, the Apple Sox return home to begin its final homestand of the season with the Walla Walla Sweets in town for a 3-game series. Tonight's game and tomorrow at 7:05, Sunday at 6:05. The UTIP Triple SA is hosting its E and Rec Team Eastern Washington State Men's Softball Championships this weekend as well. That runs tomorrow and Sunday at Walla Walla Point Park and Kirby Billingsley Hydro Park. Well, the Wenatchee Wild season will be here before you know it. That means a need for families to host players in their homes. Chris Clark and Ryan McKelvey were guests recently on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. They said they could use quite a few host families for the upcoming season. Contact the Wenatchee Wild for more information there. Well, the Mariners are home this weekend to take on the New York Mets. Ariel Miranda on the mound against Rafael Montero. First pitch tonight at 7:10. That's sports news. I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life Channel. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. Yesterday during the Rotary Club meeting at the Red Lion, Matt Cadman and Jamie Donegan gave a special presentation of Numerica Pac's Le Cage au Faux.
Bonjour, bonjour. What pleasure it gives me to say bonjour. Here we are at the Pride of Saint-Tropez, the envy of the cabaret world, the jewel of the Riviera. What legend has told and rumor has promised, we shall do our utmost to deliver. So many old friends, and so many new faces, and so many old friends with new faces. But we can linger no longer. The inevitable is upon us. Monsieur Dom, I welcome you to the 15th edition of our world-famous review, starring the one and only Zaza, and featuring the notorious and dangerous Cagels. Ladies and gentlemen, and you, we issue the following warning. Please remain in your seats while Les Cagels perform. The management cannot guarantee your safety. And now, I beg you, open your eyes, for you have arrived at Le Cage au Faux. It's rather gaudy, but it's also rather grand. And while your waiter pads your check, he'll kiss your hand. Our clever gigolos romance the wealthy matrons at La Cage. Oh, faux. Ah, bonsoir, Harry. And Duchess, is that you? Oh, no, Duchess, is that you? I didn't recognize you behind that mustache. You know, it brings out your eyes. And Marcel, you've had your hair straightened. You did it yourself. Oh, he did it himself. Marvelous, the things one learns in prison. You go alone to have the evening of your life. You meet your mistress and your boyfriend and your wife. It's a bonanza, it's a mad extravaganza at La Cage au Fort. Merci.
We'll be back in just a moment with the recap of today's stories and your scorching hot weather forecast for north central Washington. Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com. And now for a recap of our top stories. Wenatchee police say a knife-wielding man was shot and killed by an officer last night in the parking lot of Albertson's grocery store. It happened around 10 p.m. when Rivercom Emergency Dispatch received a 911 call from a person witnessing the suspect. Captain Edgar Reinfeld explained what happened earlier this morning.
Officers responded to a report of a man armed with a knife and screaming last night just after 10 o'clock, about 10:06 actually. Upon arrival, first officer found the man still armed with a knife in the parking lot. It was confrontational, and ended up being, the result was the suspect was shot shortly thereafter. The suspect ultimately passed at Central Washington Hospital after being transported by ambulance. And now you can see very little behind us of the crime scene team that was here about an hour ago. But the Washington State Patrol Crime Scene Response Team came and collected evidence and documented the scene for our North Central Washington Special Investigations Unit. And at this point, we are just working through the process of the case.
Captain Reinfeld says the names of the suspect and the officer have not been released yet. Lady of the Lake officials at Lake Chelan and the Chelan County Sheriff's Office report they're seeing more reckless operation of watercraft on the lake around passenger vessels than ever before. Wave runners and jet skis are following and jumping within inches of the Lady of the Lake boats. Watercraft are crossing so close in front of the bow that the captain of the boat loses sight of them. Officials are seeing adults pulling their young children behind boats and crossing right in front of the vessel. They also say it's important to remember boats do not have brakes and they're not able to react like a small vessel or vehicle, plus the fact that this is illegal per the Chelan County boating regulations. Judging from a recent NCW Life survey of motorists in Wenatchee, it appears police will be busy enforcing the state's new distracted driving law. Our survey was conducted on July 20th at the corner of Miller Avenue and 5th Street. Casey Bayes was among 4 NCW Life staff members who conducted the survey between the hours of 5 and 5:30 p.m.
We caught 179 people that were talking while holding their phones, and 75 to 80% were actually like holding it and like texting, not like just holding it to talk. So they were actually looking at something, and being up on the balcony by the sub shop was really helpful because we could see when they were trying to be sneaky down there.
And people will do that now. I think with the new law in effect, they're going to do that. They'll put their phone in their lap and turn it on speaker, right?
Yeah, but like even looking down, it's like you do that if you're talking on your phone and stuff, you can't help it. So it's like holding it down there is still going to get you caught, and it's still not safe.
How many people did you notice were only doing it when they were stopped at the intersection as opposed to they're literally driving down the road and doing this?
I'd say that like 75% were actually doing it when they were stopped, but I was surprised at how many people actually kept looking down while they were driving across. I was watching like, this isn't safe.
The new law went into effect on July 23rd. A driving under the influence of electronics ticket, or EDUI, will cost more than before. All violations will be available to your insurance company and may lead to premium increases. Lake Wenatchee area residents can get more information about planned timber harvest projects at a Saturday community meeting. Chelan County Natural Resources Department Director Mike Caputa says projects to be discussed include the Weyerhaeuser proposal on the South Shore.
The county received a number of phone calls and some letters about the Weyerhaeuser proposal up on Lake Wenatchee. And in response to that, we're going to be getting together some of the landowners to talk about that proposal. We have the Department of Natural Resources coming to talk about the forest practices permit that Weyerhaeuser submitted. But we're also going to take the opportunity to let the community know about some future work that we're working with the Forest Service on in the same area.
Caputa says the Forest Service projects are planned in the Lake Wenatchee, Big Meadow, Beaver, and Lower Chihuahua areas. Saturday's meeting starts at 10 a.m. at the Lake Wenatchee Rec Club. Time now for your weather forecast for north central Washington. But before we get to that, let's take a look out our weather window. And what we're seeing is, in fact, on our satellite and wind map, we are seeing an area of low pressure off the coast of British Columbia, but that will continue to get pushed north as an area of high pressure just off the California coast will continue to bring warm air up into our area. In fact, it will intensify as we make our way through the weekend. We can expect winds possibly on Sunday as well, but for the most part, we will see a big warm up as we get into the first part of next week. In fact, the conditions next week will be the warmest temperatures that we have seen this entire year. And one thing about it, too, we need to keep in mind, we will see enhanced fire potential as our humidities go down and our temperatures go to scorching hot temperatures. Let's take a look at our weather forecast now. And tonight, very mild once again. We'll see mostly clear skies with a low temperature of around 66 degrees. As we kick off your weekend on Saturday, sunshine and 97 degrees with a low of about 69 on Sunday and into Monday. Sunday sunny, Monday sunny, and look at those temperatures next week. 98 Monday, 104 on Tuesday, 103 Wednesday, and 103 expected as well on Thursday with lows in the lower 70s. We may be talking about record high temperatures as we get into next week. Well, everybody in the nation is hearing about Logan Mayberry and his walk across America. Yesterday, he went with Waterville local Robert Parcells to Seattle Children's Hospital as Robert received chemo treatment for lymphoma cancer. Here's a short clip from a video Logan shared with us yesterday.
You just have to stay strong through it, and hopefully you make it out on the other side. Just bring everything you got, because it could be your last. Yeah. Big thank you to Waterville and all the community, all my family and friends. They've helped me get through this, and we're almost done. Almost done.
And we're at the Seattle Children's Hospital, right?
Yeah, this is Seattle Children's Hospital, and I'm admitted today.
And what cycle of chemo are you on right now?
I'm starting the 4th cycle of chemo, and it'll last about 2 weeks. Then I'll start my 5th and final cycle of chemo, and then that'll last another 2 weeks. And then we take a 2-week break, and I'll have to do 14 rounds of chemo, 14 days of chemo. Not chemo, radiation, 14 days of radiation.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
This is the end.
I'm ready, let's take it.
Right on, man.
Yeah, thanks.
And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around north central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@nclife.com, ncwlife.com, or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.
This has been NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. For more news, log on to ncwlife.com, like us on Facebook, and follow NCW Life channel on Twitter.